Hey guys, this is just Being Real by Julia. Every now and then, I'll be giving you a bite-sized portion of pure positivity, as positivity always wins in life. Remember, I'm just here to have fun. I do not know what I'm getting myself into, but all I know is this will be a good vibes only podcast. I'm crazy, I know. But one thing I know for sure, it's better to be absolutely ridiculous than be absolutely boring. So, are we ready to have fun? All right, just make sure you subscribe and share, and looking forward to having you on board. Cheers! Today, this is not like a episode, but just like a progress report. And kind of sometimes I think once in a while I'll be talking about things that are coming up on topics that are on the streets, on our social media pages, that just people are talking about, okay? So one thing, I'm very excited because my niece just removed her cover of Sauti Sol song Insecure. Oh my god, people, you should listen. She has this amazing voice and she's always just never been using it, and we've all been telling her, you need to do this and you need to do this, put this voice into good use, and finally she did it, and there is no turning back, and we're waiting for more, of course. So I cannot wait for her to finally release something of her own. Okay, calm down, Julia. Anyway, I'm excited and I wish her all the best in her new endeavor. One thing I've realized, we are always afraid to begin things. We are always afraid to fail. We are always afraid of what will people say. I remember, like, before I started the podcast, I wasn't sure what topic will I be speaking about. What will I be saying? What if I mess up? Are people going to like what I do and everything? There's always a lot, but never be afraid to fail. You can't always let fear to take control. You just have to begin and do something, because what I've realized as well is failure is just a bump on the road. The same way you're driving, get a bump, what do? You don't stop. You get over the bump and move on, right? So I've learned a lot, and that's why even with the podcast, as much as it wasn't something I had planned actually, but I decided to go for it. And there's more things that are coming that are on the pipeline, and I'm just hoping that things will work out in the long run, okay? So just keep on moving. And as I said, we have been put in a situation where our project have stalled. We are at home, Rona happened, and I'm thinking most people, like, your creativity juices have been running. So what have you been thinking of doing? I'm here to encourage you to just go for it. You just don't want to sit in 2021 and be like, what did I do in 2020, and be like, Rona happened. No, of course. We'll have something to always be like, this failed because Rona happened, or this did not happen because Rona happened, and it's fine. But please, let's at least do something, even if it's learning something new. We have internet now all over. You can read, you can just increase your skills, so that when you even go out there to the job market, people will be like, wow, okay, this is interesting. Or even come up with something of your own at the end of the day, which would be exciting. Now, another thing I would want to talk about, guys, is just before I go into that, now we're almost having my podcasts on Google. There are a few things and couple of things that I'm still working on, but it's finally almost being approved. Yay! Way to go. Some little excitement that I'm really happy about. And guys, Thank you for all your feedbacks. I really do appreciate. I'm not perfect, a few hitches here and there, but I've realized I'm learning quite a lot of stuff. Like every day is a learning process. Wow, let me tell you, the last 3 days I've actually not been sleeping. Why? Learning things, and I'm glad on what I'm learning so far. So let's see how it goes. Another thing I wanted to speak about, yes guys, we've had about teenage pregnancies that are happening right now, and it is sad. As a parent, I'm sure for everyone you would feel like, wow, what if this was my kid? What if this was my daughter? Or what if this was my son doing such things? It's worrying. And for even upcoming parents, are you even afraid to become a parent? Like, wow, will I even be able to raise a very outstanding human being, or will I fail, and end up getting babies at a very young age? What happens, And I was thinking about it, and back then our parents, they never used to talk about this thing. They never used to talk about sex. They never made us sit down and talk. But we were a bit more reserved, and we were a bit more scared of doing this, and these things were not happening as much. Yes, they were happening, but they were not as much. So what's the difference right now? What I'll say the difference, for me personally, my own personal experience, it was a taboo to have a boyfriend while in school. That is in high school and primary. I would see boys and I would run, And I remember everyone in school, my friends knew, by the way, usijaribu kukaribia Julia because baba yake ni simba. What I mean is, everyone was afraid to my dad and kind of referred him to a lion. Okay, I'm just doing a direct translation for someone to just understand, for anyone who does not understand Swahili. So, you know the way sometimes you're sent to the shop and then you go, and then there's a dude maybe who's been watching out to you, or a boy, let's call them boys, then who's been watching you out, and then they try and approach you, my friend. If they see my dad or even hear his whistle, my dad used to whistle a lot while walking, and our town was such a small town, so it's somewhere you would walk to town and back. So if they hear it, my friend, oh my God, the scampering that will happen then to safety was crazy. So people just decided, let me not stress myself. Let me not even try to hit on this little girl. So that's how it happened. I'll give you a scenario. Remember when I used to go to high school, I would be told to write a list. That's the day before you're going back to school. So I write a list of all the shopping I need, of the stuff I need. So I would write them down, and then I give him the list. So he goes through, and before I even go to that story, this is a funny one, so I just have to tell you. So he would go through the list. So it's like lotion. What is lotion? That is not important. Vaseline is enough. And that was out of the list as fast as it came. Another thing, at the perfumes, I don't know what. And you're in high school and you're with these kids. When you go to school, they have perfumes, like 2 or 3. They have roll-on, they have lotion, and you really want to have such stuff. Julia? No. Another thing, at a tissue, the way people used to carry like big packs of tissue, and he'd be like, Kwani, are you going to read or are you just going to be in the toilet? This is too much. So I used to have a very little things, and I used to wonder, why am I even being told to write a list in the first place? Anyway, I survived it all. And sometimes I appreciate kinda, because I knew how to survive with minimal. Because even pocket money, we used to have pocket money, but now it used to be given to the bazaar, and then you're given maybe when the day before you go for your midterm. For those who've been in MFA know that. And then some guys would be given some to just have with you. Okay, it was illegal, but for me, my dad was no breaking rules kind of man. So my friend, you have to be straightforward. So, or sometimes when you put your money for the bazaar, we used to be brought for bread to buy in school. So you'd go to the bazaar, pick a few coins for you to buy your bread, okay? And then, yeah, so that used to happen. Anyway, so I would survive with 500 bob. And 100 bob had to remain for me to go back home to like come at 8's midterm or anything. I had to get home. That was still my fare. And I survived, my friends. I survived. Yes, Julia survived. But my mom, of course, once in a while, she would, you know moms, eh? Where they would just squeeze your hand and give you something small, like even a 200 bob. That was always awesome. Thanks, mom. Anyway, so I was talking about the list. So we'd go to the supermarket, and then he would be the one picking stuff. And after we've had everything, this day we meet this guy. We used to be with him in primary school. So he came to say hi. And we were in a different aisle with my dad. I was speaking something else. My dad was speaking something else. And then we were just speaking, my friend. We just had Julia. He used to call me by my full name when he's married. Who is that wasting your time? Like, he had this booming voice. He was a headmaster, Okay. By the time I was in school, he had retired, but before he was a headmaster, ex-headmaster. His voice boomed through the whole supermarket. Like, everything came to a standstill, and everyone wanted to know who this Julia is. Oh my God. This is the time I felt that the ground should open and just swallow me up. Could have written those compositions. I had those vocabs. Okay, yeah. Anyway, the ground didn't open. I was there. Everyone was looking at me. The guy had vamoosed. Like vamoosed. Yes, it was embarrassing. So after that, every other time he made sure when he was taking me to school, he would go pay for those matatus, ensure it's full. Like, he would pay for that matatu that has only one person remaining for it to move. He did not want me to escape, so we go roam where or to go meet who. Oh my God, used to be paid, wait for it, and he make sure I'm gone. Julia is gone to school. It was that crazy. And we turned out fine, right? We turned out okay. So it's a funny story, but at the end of the day, I've realized our parents were so strict and we were so afraid of them. We knew we would be killed, right? And that's why I'm even asking myself, are we raising our kids different now? Of course, things have changed. We have the internet. We no longer beat our kids as parents, and disciplining has changed, So what are we doing? Where are we going wrong? One thing I've always wanted with my son is to have a safe space, or have him to trust me so that we can be friends and talk about anything. And I'm glad we kind of have that. But you never know. Teenage comes with a lot of things. Sometimes I read about teenagers and how hard, or just watch movies and I'm like, oh my God, am I even ready for this, And plus, I was a teenage back then, but I was a good one. I was really chilled back then. So I'm just like, will my son turn out like that? And sometimes it's just not our fault anyway. But has our life become so busy that is we are both working, mother and father? Most of the days back then, our mother was always there. Like for me, it was easy for me to speak to my mom than to my dad. I was afraid of my dad. So if anything, you want any information to get to your dad, talk to mom first. And of course it will get there. She was the channel. But right now, do we have that? I believe some parents have that. And that's the way to go. Just having to talk to your kids whenever they have a problem, someone touches them inappropriately, And you see, I don't know, there's no one to blame. I can say this. Okay, I don't know. It fits the society. Everything has crumbled. I think it's just the society, because why? We have the internet. Kids have their laptop. Kids have their tabs. They're bought for when they're very young. These days you can just put a movie and watch throughout. There's always a sex scene or whatever, and you're always forwarding or pausing, or sometimes you just say, I'll watch it once everyone is asleep. As in, life has changed, and these people here, the kids can access this kind of information. They can access these movies, and of course, on those movies they portray like, this thing is the best awesome thing. But do we talk about this? Do we tell them? And I think it should start early enough, because they get exposed very early. Of course, 7-year-old, no, that's too young. I don't know what's the right stage, but we can talk about this later. Can we, give me this idea. Look, what do you think? Let's discuss this. But I'm so sad on what is happening, and I'm just hoping this is a wake-up call. Like, we need to smell the coffee. Like, things are not good. Have we kind of got relaxed that kids go to school and we don't care because teachers take care of them, and now we have relaxed like parents? I've realized school really helps as well. It keeps them busy. It's like just us. Imagine like now when we've been home. Of course, I know most of us have been tired, like just sometimes being told you have to be home and work from home. It can be tiring. Like, you need something to keep you occupied. That having that everyday motivation to wake up, go to work and everything is really important. It keeps your mind occupied. So let's think about this through. Let's know how we'll be able to be talking to our kids. And these predators were out there. It can be a kid experimenting, and it can be a kid uncle, like I read somewhere, uncle having pregnated their nieces or something. Like, a big person. How do you even think? Do these even people try and think, if I had a daughter and this would be my daughter, and would I approve someone doing this to my daughter? Like, what's happening? What's really going on? Are just people messed up? Are we not okay? What's going on? Yeah, it's crazy, and I don't know. I don't want to say much because I am not a professional when it comes to this, but I'm just talking it from a motherhood, or from being a mother perspective, and we'll keep on talking, but I just wanted to put it out there. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next episode, because this is not an episode. This is just me rambling and just a nap, like a progress report kinda. All right. Thank you.